What's going on, everybody? I'm J. Marie Poetry, host of Dirty Pleasure Show and owner of Dirty Words Apparel. We have a special show today. We have a two-part series rather. I've got with me some of the ladies from Perc30, which is out on Tubi as well as Peacock. And I want to introduce the ladies to the show. We've got Fly Jen Barbado, or is it Beto? Am I pronouncing it right? Barbito as Victoria from the movie, and then we've got Miss Eden James as Seiko or
Ooh, my
Psycho.
connection's really
I
choppy.
don't know if I'm probably mispronouncing the hell out of that name. It's
No,
Seiko, right?
Seiko, but yeah, same thing.
Seiko.
Seiko,
Okay, because I was saying
tomato, it
Psycho.
works.
Well, because I was saying Psycho, which I'm like, no, I think that was Jen's character. um, okay, so we are going to be discussing role play from an actor and an actress's stance and their mindset behind it. So that's what we're going to go ahead and get into. And when Jen pops back in, she'll join back and start talking to us about it. But just to kick things off, Eden, you play Seiko,
Yeah.
and your character, to kind of give a little bit of background, is one of the love interests of the main character, Jason Perkins, along with Victoria Bianchi, which is played by Jen Barbado. There we go,
Mhm.
Barbito. And she's also a love interest of Jason Perkins. So in that in that vein of things, when we're talking about acting and getting into the mindset, how do you prepare for a sort of a sexual role, or maybe even just the intimacy that comes with it? How do you prepare for something like that? And we'll start with you, Miss Eden.
To be honest, I have never in my life done any type of intimacy, anything on camera like that.
Okay.
So um, I do a lot of business on the front end outside of being an actress. So in which I sit at some pretty nice tables with some powerful men that just wouldn't be something that I would want them to see. And so me coming into this, it was really hard for me to be like, oh my God, what are we gonna do now? Just because I'm such a private person and especially intimately, like that's I'm like way out there with it when it's just my person. But to be like to have to get into that mind state of like, okay, Eden, this is your person. Pretend like nobody's watching. It was
Right. Right. Ah, we lost her. This was good. Okay, she's gonna hop back in. I know everybody. We're on the working day, so I know everybody is probably competing with a lot of bandwidth here. So to kind of get Shantae back into the mix of things, um, uh, Eden, 1 second, I'm gonna kind of get Shantae up to speed. So what we're doing is we're talking about what it takes to get into the character of. Now, I'm not for sure if you. I'm trying to remember if you had a sex scene in this particular movie in Perc30. You
Yeah,
did.
I had a.
Okay. So we're talking about we're talking about, don't start smiling now. We're talking about the scenes and how you get into the mindset. And Eden was kind of giving us an understanding of her point of view as an actress. And this is something that she's never done before. So
Mhm.
we definitely want to kind of talk about what it takes to get into that mindset. So Eden, I wanted you to finish, and then I was going to go to Jen, and then we'll come to you, Shantae, on
Okay.
that.
yeah. So I think in order for me to prepare for that, I really had to just like I said, get into that mind state. And I'm just so happy that I did not have to go nude because pretty much everyone else was nude at some point in part. And I was like, nope, not doing it. Not going to happen.
Is
And so I
that
think
tea?
for,
Is that tea?
uh,
Because I thought we were like in shorts and okay,
oh no,
okay, okay.
there were like if you watch it and it's like there are some nude areas to it. A lot of
Okay,
nude
I'm gonna have to
areas. It's like
rewatch it
soft
then.
porn pretty much. And I was like, nope, not doing it.
It really was. There was a lot of scenes that have you kind of like, oh, wait a minute, this is, this is
Yeah.
interesting.
So
This is interesting.
I've realized from this experience, from this point going forward, I don't want to do any type of scenes like that.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I've real like that's like definitely my boundary. Like even like as you saw, there was a deleted scene where we were like kissing under the moonlight.
I
It was a full moon, and they
know.
were trying to build up the story since they didn't have as much content to our character, and then I got killed off real quick to develop the whole love part. Because if you watch a movie from start to finish, the dad keeps saying like you're in love, and he's like, no, I'm not. To at the very end saying like I just used her as a pawn to kill her dad so I could be the top dog with no competition. So we were trying to build that up, but I guess somehow in the editing sequence, a lot of the dialogue and stuff to give a little bit of the backstory just got lost somewhere in translation. But yeah,
I thought
think
that was a really good scene personally. And I'm a romanticist or whatever you want to call it, a hopeless romantic. So I was
yeah,
like, when I saw that, I definitely wanted it to be a part of it, but I mean, you don't get to make those editing decisions, so I definitely
right.
get that.
So yeah, but yeah, that's my part. I've realized like I won't if I read the script and it has anything to do with me being sexual or nude or anything, I'll pass on it. I won't do it.
Okay, so not even a romantic scene, like a romantic relationship scene where it's not that.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, if it's a romantic scene, then yeah. But if it's gonna be like some soft porn or like even I have to like fake my faces of FUCKing, and I don't know how to fake that. So my
Right.
ex that I've been with are gonna watch that and be like, yeah, no,
They don't need to believe it though, right?
that's
They don't need
definitely
to
not
believe
it. That is not her. Yeah,
Well, they
they'll be
don't need to
okay.
believe it, but but so let's move on to Jen. What is your mindset when you get into it? Like, how do you channel the inner freak?
Well, it depends on the project. So this is not my first intimacy bedroom type of thing. And it also depends on your co-star, your scene partner. How far are they willing to go? And it's like a dance, you gotta vibe off of that, respect all of that. And I can say with this project in particular, my heart is racing thinking about it because I'm going back to that day, how nervous I was. So I was actually an emergency cast. There was someone else that was supposed to play Victoria. And I
Uh-huh.
got a phone call after teaching a fitness class. And the guy that plays Invisible, Tom Vera, we've worked together on other projects. He recommended me. I got a phone call. 4 hours later, I was due on set and I was skimming over the script. And the scene that I was going to shoot was the one that you see when they're fighting and then
Yeah.
they start having like makeup sex, kind of whatever. But she's like, I hate you. Ah, right. Um,
4 hours? What?
4 hours. So as soon as I got on set, I said, who's playing Jason Perkins? And then I went straight to Tyrone and I was like, are we going to do this? Like, are you ready? Are you ready for what's in the script? And he's all like, yeah, I'm ready. And I was like, all right. So, and scenes like that. And whenever it comes to intimacy, it's real tricky. And I've been a producer and a director too, to kind of ask talent how far they're willing to go without getting yourself in a predicament of a lawsuit, like
Yeah,
you have to
exactly.
be very tactful how you ask for things. But I believe what happened in the case of Tyrone and I, they kind of just left it to our hands and just let us do our thing.
Okay.
Because they have worked with Tyrone before and they were giving me the benefit of the doubt because of Tom Vera. So when it came to us doing that scene, I just asked him, like, are you okay for what we're about to do? Like, straight up. And he was just so confident with it that it just vibed and it worked.
Okay.
So as far as that scene was, it was just a matter of me making sure that he was okay for what was called for. And then I can say with other talent, there haven't been as tenacious as Tyrone. I've had
Okay.
people that wanted a closed set completely, and that it was almost like a dating phase. They're like, "Can I kiss you off the camera first But with Tyrone, it was like, and action. And we just went for it. So it truly, you can tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But you really won't know unless you have that chemistry read. And unfortunately, Tyrone and I didn't have that. But thankfully, it worked out because he is so literally balls to the wall type of talent. Like when him and I shoot, you can see that we took our underwear off, and things like that. And we didn't have moleskin on or any of that stuff. So, like I said, that's between you and how far your co-star is willing and your scene partner is willing to go. And that's also Tyrone and I trusting the editing of them, to not get the goodies, and be tasteful with it and all of that, and Dre, that he's the DP that's getting the angles while we're shooting. And, I love that he did that window work. In one of the scenes, you can see the reflection of Victoria and Jason, and probably one of the more raunchiest part of their love sequence. So I love that it looked more artistic. So, it's a lot of trust, a lot of blind trust, but a lot of like, okay, let's get comfortable for sure.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of, okay. And to plug the movie, Perc30 on Tubi and Peacock, I'm going to have to rewatch it though, because I was talking a lot of mess in the movie theater and laughing, and I know I was missing.
She's crazy.
Because your character, I was literally like, this bitch is, why would you, what kind of, and everything was just kind of flying through the first time. So to watch it now, I'm going to be watching for those scenes like, oh, I want to see this, and I want to make sure. I didn't see that, catch that the first time. That's interesting. So
and things that she says, you hear her psychoses and her abandonment issues. You got to remember that her father is a cartel lord, and she says in there his specialty is cleaning up dead bodies. You know how messed up Victoria has to be growing up in that environment, and that's her father figure. So she says like, where were you? I needed you here. And then like when they're making love, she says, no, I want to see your face. I want to see your face. That's like part of her psychoses. She's like making love to him, and she's saying, I hate you, and she knows that she cheated on him. That's why she washed off his penis in the sink. She knew what happened, but she has that attachment issue,
behind the scenes. Okay, so my questions, you kind of are answering them already, because the director and coach side of it, and then now let's get Shantae's piece on it, because I know.
Yeah, Shantae did some magic tricks on us. Remember, she was the one backbending in the car, like she got acrobatic with us.
I was like, which one is this one now? Because I keep forgetting her and
then her character has some stuff too that you see transpire out. You hear that, she was raped by one of Jason's friends. That's how she got her daughter. And when she's having sex with these men, you see her acting out. You see her acting out that trauma. She's very aggressive. When you see Naya with those men, you see the rape trauma coming out. Shantae did amazing with that.
Right. Thank you for speaking for her, because she's definitely having some.
Right. I'm trying to like give her time while she dials in.
Yeah, that's crazy. So when we're talking about like the chemistry, and Eden, you played Seiko. I keep on messing this name up because my countryness says Psycho, and I'm like, no,
it's Seiko.
Seiko. So you play we say the primary love interest. There we go. Okay, let me double back to Shantae before we go to you, Seiko, or Eden, excuse me. And we'll talk about more on your character. But Shantae, these backflips, honey, these backflips that you did.
Your backbend.
What was the backflip? I was like, is that?
It's not a backflip. She's doing a backbend.
She reminded, because I was trying to like, girl, I'm over here like, which one is it? I don't want to seem like I didn't watch the show. I didn't watch the movie, but I'm like, there were so many scenes, and I'm trying to like.
There was.
I didn't have a chance to rewatch the movie to like, get like now I know who it is I'm talking to. But now she said the backflip. I'm like, yes, honey, the backflip in the car.
Mm.
Baby, I was like, how in the, what is we doing here with this movie? You, ma'am, let's talk about it.
Yeah, Shantae, let's talk about it,
She
Booski.
being out, she being out.
Well, that honestly was the director's decision. That was something that he wanted to do with the back bend.
How did they know you could do that? First of all, let me ask that, because while you over here talking about, well,
Good
that was what
point.
I wanted to
Good
do.
point. Yes,
How do you
Shantae, how
know
do you know how to
everybody
do
else?
that so well?
Exactly.
Okay, look, he asked me. He said, and if I would be willing to do it, like, why not? Let's try something different. Spice it up. I like the idea of starting the scene coming up from the bottom like that, which I think is a great audience.
Mhm.
So, I was like, look, I can't stay down here too long. I think I have vertigo. So
Everybody in that
okay.
situation has vertigo.
But yeah, so I mean, I like to I want to go back to what Jen was saying. I think when it
Yes.
comes to me getting prepared for scenes like that, I like to have talks with my scene partner, just boundaries, because like she said, one person may, be ready to do any and everything to, make a great scene that looks realistic, but someone else may not. They may have some boundaries, and depending on what's happening in the scene, like my character, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't love. She was driven by wanting to replace something she lost. So for her, it was more of, let's just get to it. Let's do it. So there was a lot of aggressiveness in the scenes as well, and I had one scene partner that was not as comfortable with,
This was the
me
one who
getting.
was talking about making the baby with. Oh, we telling too much tea. They gotta watch it. They gotta watch the movie. But Jim was talking about some of the character. I want to say that, like, the background of the character that you don't maybe
Mhm.
get in the first part. Like, if you watch the movie the first time, I don't think you get all of that until you rewatch it, or until now we've heard, when they watch this, they're gonna hear, oh damn, okay, this character had this going on and blah blah blah, that
Right.
you may not pick up the first time. So we don't understand what uh the motivations of the character is.
Right. Um. So
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was your?
no. I'm trying to be
I,
careful with not giving away too much
Right.
tea on the scene, because too much tea on
Yeah,
the movie.
I was just saying that, one of my scene partners was not as comfortable being roughed up, whereas the other one was more open to certain things. So I think just knowing the boundaries of my scene partner is typically where I start, because I'm pretty open to, doing a lot of things to make the scene, look real and make the relationship believable, because, we are doing these scenes with people that we don't really know, or we may or may
yeah.
not have any kind of attraction to. So yeah.
So so one thing that interests me is, like, how do you get into the mindset of of that of that character, doing that? Like, what do you do to prepare for that?
hmm Well, for me, I think it really just goes back to what's the motivation in that scene of my characters, just kind of understanding what they're trying to accomplish, what their goal is. And so once I know that, I, I pretty much just kind of try and stay true to maybe how this character would be. And improv is a big part of, well, I would say some of these scenes, improv is a big part, and just having that comfortability and just kind of allowing yourself to go where the character wants to go. For me, that's kind of where I start.
Okay.
hmm
So, and I know, Eden, we wanted to come back to you because you were I'm trying to remember what I was trying to ask you. Um the chemistry with you, because, okay, so in the movie we don't see so much of you as the love interest, or initially it doesn't come off that way. It kind of comes off like you're the side chick, and then when I was talking to Jen, she had a difference in opinion. So we're not going to give away all of this and that of it all, but it did it did strike me as interesting to see the scenes that were cut, that particular scene, because I think that scene would have made it almost like it's a competing love interest. Now it's not like a
Right.
side versus it's a side versus a side versus the side versus the main, if that
Right.
makes sense.
And I think also like in the very, very beginning, it's the club scene, and that's initially where we met.
Mm-hmm.
There's actual dialogue. Like when you watch how the movie cuts in, he's talking to his sister at the bar, and he sees me walk past his sister and like maintains eye contact with me. The angling of the editing again didn't catch like our eye contact, because we had to do that scene several times to make sure that that was actually caught, but that wasn't the clip that was used. Then when you go into the dialogue of the club scene, while we're having our dialogue, it was supposed to be the music's playing and the audio of our dialogue can be heard while Jason is like trying to keep an eye on like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? In that dialogue, he says, we go into conversation. And he ends up liking how witty I was, because we end up having like an actual conversation about Yoko Ono, and he realized how diverse and versatile I was as far as conversations and intellectually. And he gave me a compliment. I'm like, man, whatever, bye. So when I come into the scene, coming out of work, when he's sitting on my car, that was the initial like tie-in. But without hearing the dialogue, you're gonna miss all of that. And the only thing you're gonna hear, the only way you would know, is the conversations between Jason and his dad, because his dad keeps saying, you're gonna fall in love, you're not the right person, you know, this and that. And he's like, I don't know what you keep seeing and saying about this. And then until the very end, you realize like, oh wait, he just was using Jen as a pawn. And that day when he had came up, when Jen was there was a little bit of dialogue to that, where he was coming up to come over to my house and realized that the door was cracked open. So of course he's wondering, if you're going to somebody's house, their door should never be cracked open. So that's what was kind of like odd. And cautiously, in the script, it says cautiously he walks in and he sees me dead and sees Victoria there, in a ruckus of like, what are we gonna do?
And I want to be clear, because we're going back and forth with the real names and the character names. So to be clear, not Jen but Victoria.
Right. And, thank you. Exactly.
And
that's correct.
Wait.
Yeah.
We're not
like, not me, girl, my character.
I'm so sorry.
I know, and that's why I was trying to like hopefully kind of bring it in so people know, okay, we're talking about the character, not the person, and that sort of thing. But just so everybody could kind of be clear and be like, where's Jen at? I don't see a Jen there, and not in the movie. And we're being the characters. But so the type of scene that you're comfortable with then, Shantae, versus Eden. And speaking of you as a person and the actress yourself, not the character, you're flexible in that. But whereas Eden, so there are boundaries even as actresses and things like that. And do you have people coming up to you with, well, once they see this, let me say that, or they decide to keep rewatching the movie?
That's where
the boundary is going to come.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Because again, like I know a lot of different people in a lot of different places who, outside of me acting, I'm very, very business, and I'm really just like, get to the point, here we go, let's sit down, talk about it, and we're done. So even if they do have any desire of likes, it's really just all in their head of a fantasy of like, oh my God. So for them to actually see something, they're going to be like, oh my God. Who was that actor that got to do that scene with Eden? And I'm like, never gonna happen again, ever. Because I'm overseas, and I'm gonna be going home hopefully by like November, December-ish. And I'm already like please. I mean, not saying that I hope nobody watches it, but I hope.
Right, we don't hope that. We don't hope
when
that.
I post it, they'll watch it. It's just, I don't want to ever be put in this position where I know I'm looking at people that I'm supposed to be sitting at a table with, and they just have this scene replaying in their head, even though it wasn't as great of a scene as like Victoria and Shantae's character, but it's still, that's enough for them to be like, oh my God.
No, the one that connected with me was the cut scene. Like I was literally like, and that's me, because I'm like, oh, if that was in there, then it definitely would have made it be romantic,
exactly,
and not the other way around.
From a consultant's point of view, and me assessing work, because I work with artists as well as other producers and filmmakers. Me assessing it, it's all you can't just have a climax and just like straight, you know what I mean? Like it's just,
you can, and then it's a different kind of movie.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. Like there isn't like a climax to it. It's just like, oh, action, and it's just like throw that ass, versus like let's draw
gradually
out
get up to it. Exactly. Let's write the story into it and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and the caption on that was, what is something about what is the main dish without the foreplay, and then some music and the vibes of the background, because I think that's one thing as watching. When I watch movies, I don't watch movies just for my talent. I watch it everything technical. I pay attention to all of the editing. I pay attention to all the audio. I pay attention to all of the color correction. I pay attention to all of it, the flow, like everything. And then my acting is like, okay, after I've already watched and paid attention to all of the technical stuff. But yeah, that was just my personal, and a couple people that I've sent it to media out in Houston, because I work with media. And they had the ones that have watched it texted me back and had pretty much said the same thing. Other filmmakers had pretty much said the same thing. So
was it good or bad, or what was their take on it?
They said that the content, the storyline would have been good. The editing needed to be much better. The actors, the talent was great. They were just really disappointed in the editing.
Okay. I love the whole thing, but I'm also not like a technical person when it comes to movies. Like I'm more comedy and romance. So like it's either borderline Pornhub, hence the name of the show, or super romantic and things like that. So both storylines spoke to me. Definitely Shantae's backflip. I'm like, this is different. This was definitely
the storyline was amazing. I love the storyline. The storyline was great. It was very well written, and the actors that were selected for it, the cast, are very, very talented.
Very much
it was
so.
definitely great being able to work with a great cast for sure.
And everybody learning, talking to some of the other actors and actresses, this being like their first time, I'm like, you could have fooled me, because like I'm thinking everybody's been in this for years. And at this point, this is just, another movie you're doing, that I just happen to be somebody to be a part of the premiere and all that kind of stuff we're here in Dallas. But it's interesting because everybody brought their own expertise to the scene. And on the point that you said, Eden, when you said, you don't want people to see you that way, I'll spin it to Shantae and to Jen on that. But how do you prepare your significant other for a steamy sex scene, especially you, Shantae? Like, how do you prepare somebody for your antics? I don't want to say antics, but the character's antics.
Well, I'm currently single, so I don't have to really run that.
Okay, but let's say.
But
let's say, would you have done that if you were in a relationship though?
I think that if I were someone, that then
I know, I'm right. Because guys are single. By the way, no, let me stop. I'm not pimping you out. I promise. Respect. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You said I'm not pimping you out.
I'm being Go ahead.
There is a level of respect that should be, kept
Of
between
course.
me and my real partner. So they would definitely, I would be a lot more transparent about, what the scene is about, and just talk to them about what they're comfortable with, because I do think that it would affect certain things I'm willing to do. I'm already a little selective on nudity. I actually was not nude in the film. I think for me, nudity has to make sense to the storyline. It not just some random sex scene, but is this necessary to really show maybe a form of intimacy, um, or display a form of intimacy to our viewers? And then even with that, I want to be, hopefully shot a certain way to where it's tasteful. Like, for example, I actually liked how Jen and or Victoria and it wasn't just, they weren't just all out there. It was, I thought it was a very tasteful shot. So yeah, for me it's really just talking to my partner about what they would be comfortable with me doing, and it would probably fuel how I approach that.
Okay. Okay. And then Jen, Victoria. Well,
Yes.
actually, you played Victoria. Let me not address you as Victoria, but how would you deal with your partner in communicating, hey, this is going to be a rather raunchy scene, or, would you done different things if you were in a relationship and things like that?
Well, before I was in the film industry, I've been a dancer, choreographer, and model. And within the dance world, the clothing is very revealing. Being a model, there's a lot of revealing shots going on, and I think that may attribute to Tyrone being comfortable as well, because he's a model as well. So he does other modeling. He actually models male underwear. I'm a lingerie model for a company here in Houston. So I think that also helps with how open-minded we are, because that's something that's been in the background of our life for a while now. So we've kind of warmed up to this type of set play, being on set, doing the modeling, and then to camera. That really was kind of like little league to major leagues, right? I think that was a good path for me personally, and I can see mirrored with him. So for us to have that chemistry, it worked out by the luck of the draw, right? But as far as my partners, I think anyone that's truly invested in me, they would have spent time seeing that I do have this sexual energy anywhere I go. It's not just in film. So they would just have to be confident in that regard, being my partner. I did have an ex-fiance before I started getting heavier into the film, that he was like, I'm going to have a really tough time seeing you do intimate scenes. And in one of my films back in the day, we actually were scene partners, an ex-fiance and I. So I don't know how any of my exes feel since seeing my other films. I haven't heard any feedback, but I just think that anyone that comes into my space approaching me to court me, they're going to have to make peace with that before they really start trying to holler at me, because it's very prevalent in my life. And that's something that I have to be careful with, being a mother to a son, and then his friends as they get older, finding things online and my older movies, And then also I do a lot of philanthropy work for human and sex trafficking too. So I have to be a role model and the example to those women that hey, you can still be in your sexual energy, but there's a way to make it look artistic, and for it to have a purpose. Like Shantae was saying, she's not going to just go balls to the wall for any reason. And the situation with Jason and Victoria, they have this really fiery, passionate thing because they're both demented people. Jason is fucked up. He started this whole thing for over a year. Okay? Think about the time that Jason Perkins put in to take his fucking family down. He is a nutbag. He is a nutbag. And so is Victoria. So they have nutbag sex. You know what I'm saying? He almost rips the panties off of her. He's into it. They're nutbags. People don't understand that. You have Jason Perkins is a sociopath. Straight up. He's textbook sociopath.
I'm glad you're saying Jason, because I know Tyrone will be like, Jay, tell her to stop
No,
saying
I'm very conscious into that
Tyrone,
because I am such
Jason.
a method because I am such a method actress. I separate myself from my characters. You know, to the effect of what Eden's saying that sometimes you invest so much time in your characters and with this backstory, and then they chop it up, and it's like, hey, that's not what that was. You know, and I've had to learn to like truly get into that method actress like mindset to pop in and out of the character, and they are their own person for sure, for sure, because that also helps me be more inhibited in a way, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, definitely. I think anyone that comes to me, it's like Jessica Rabbit. I'm not bad. I'm just drawn this way. Like they have to be at peace with it, baby.
So that I guess that brings me to another question. So like there are different types of actresses and actors, but or types of acting, I should say. So what do you consider yourself, Eden, method act? Like I don't even know what I probably should have researched this part of it, or and maybe even ask my son because he's an actor. But what types of acting would you feel like you fall into? Like what type of
I think
yeah.
I'm going closer to method versus anything. It's just I've been off of the scene for a very, very long time. Like me doing Perc30, this will probably be like my fifth movie in the last like 4 years.
Okay, okay.
And so I haven't, and it's really like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
once I get into the swing of things, I think I would be more of a method actress than anything. Right now, it's just like get the script,
So
get into the
what
character, and
what
figure it out.
okay, so what type of actors do you find yourself gravitating towards mostly than anything? Or what type of I said actress, I'm sorry, character.
I like the the boss lady, real intense, crazy. I cannot
Okay.
do comedy for the life of me. I can't do
Okay.
comedy. I cannot do sci-fi just because like my family's like, it's funny how you say ha 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 and you don't even laugh. Like you just say ha 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 when something is really funny. Like it's just not my personality.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I think like more of like the action gangster type,
Okay. Okay.
lawyer, law, business type
So
character.
closer to your real life is what you're saying. You want to play something closer to
Yeah.
your real life.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I'm definitely a romantic person. Definitely a romantic person, but it just really has to be about how those pieces are
Okay.
displayed.
Okay.
And at the time, like when we were filming this, I was talking to somebody and it wasn't like important at the time because we just started talking. And then after I was like, well, I just thought I should let you know. He's like, I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I have no idea if no, or I don't know if he's watched it yet or not, but
Okay. So, and let me just pause for a second to let everybody know kind of who we're talking to and all that, because I know they see the names and they see character names and they're not really sure. We're talking to the ladies from the movie Perc30 that's out on Tubi and Peacock right now. So definitely go check that out. Um, I don't want to say who it stars because I feel like I'm gonna mess up the name. Uh, so Tyrone Betters is one of the stars. um, Jen Barbado is one of them.
Well,
Do you
I would say that Eden and I are supporting actresses. We're
supporting?
not leads.
Okay,
The
okay.
Perkins families are the leads for
The
sure,
Perkins family,
and we're supporting. Yes,
and I don't know everybody's real name, so let me not butcher it entirely. But
and it's
so
a long cast to go through.
it
mhm.
is, it is.
It is a big cast.
Shantae, let's present that question to you. What type of actress or character actress do you think you do in terms of acting styles?
Hmm.
What type of actress are you?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say I fit in a box of just one style, like just method. I think for me, as I continue to train, it's really more of a mix of a bunch of different styles, from method to just classical. Um, even Chekhov, different things like that. I take different elements of each style. Like for me, script analysis is a big thing, and also what's happening, where are we at, because location is going to determine how I may speak my lines.
Okay.
True.
If I'm having a conversation that's quiet, I'm not going to be loud in the scene. But all of this to me comes from really just kind of analyzing my script, but also finding personal emotions to really bring life,
Okay.
because we haven't always gone through certain things our characters have gone through, but you have to be able to find relatable events if you really want to make a moment real as possible. So thinking about how I would feel if I lost my mom might help me in a scene where I've lost someone. Or so I guess
Okay.
a mix of stuff for my style.
Okay. So when we're talking about different styles of acting, are you all formally trained actresses, or is it a learned sort of like you took some classes here and there and you just develop your style? I am going off script, I know, but because we done already hit the questions, and I'm like, we need to make this fit. We got more time.
Well, I do.
But are you all formally trained?
No, I'm not. I did like theater arts class a little bit in high school, and that's it. But no, I'm not formally trained. I just learn as I go. And I think being a dancer helps a lot because that's a lot of nonverbal performance communication for sure.
Okay. And Eden, to you?
No, I've had training when I was like 14, and then I did a couple classes like 5 years ago, but definitely not a trained actress.
This is going to shake a lot of people up when they think they have to go to school for 50 years to be an actor or actress, to be formally trained. But it doesn't, I don't think we should discourage anybody to do it, but it just shows
Right.
that you can be confident in the roles that you have, just pulling from the experiences that you pull from in your real
True.
life.
Yes.
And I think that's important too, because just what Shantae was talking about when you were saying you pull from personal emotions to make that character believable. And in the scene, especially one of the scenes, we're not going to kind of tell the exact scene, but there's a scene where you had a loss in your family, and it was traumatic because you're talking to another character, and there's this whole anger that you had to manufacture for the situation, and it was so believable. I was like blown away. Like, I'm mad at her too. I'm mad at this character as well. And then to see that how you went to try to go back and let's say recoup the loss was very interesting, and I think relatable for a lot of women who've gone down that path of whether they had things happen to them as a young woman and they've gone into adulthood not dealing with the trauma and different things like that. So it's really interesting to see that character kind of form that storyline, or you formed the storyline rather for the character, and then Jen, to your character, complete psycho. And we've talked off air about how you pull from your psychology background. Now that was interesting because I instantly picked up there was some sort of mental health issue with this girl, Victoria. But it was interesting to hear that behind the scenes and things that you did to, first of all, 4 hours to prepare for a crazy chick. Like, you've had a lot of understanding of psychology to kind of get into that schizophrenic whatever thing she had going on. So that was tremendous.
Yes, I mean it's fortunate and unfortunate in some ways from my education from it that I started studying it when I was actually in high school and getting dual college credits for it. And then finally during the pandemic, I completed my studies in human ecology from Cornell University. So I've had just friends, acquaintances, family members, and then patients to draw from, also from things for Victoria. And that's also why I could see that Jason is a sociopath, where the common person wouldn't see that. They would just think, oh, he's real conniving and real slick. It's like he's mentally ill as well. Hello.
Oh no,
So,
yeah, for him to have contrived this whole thing,
yes.
like, wait, what? At the end, and we're not going to give
Yes.
it away, but there's a twist.
Yes.
There's a twist to it.
He's
So
not well. And
exactly.
that's what's common. And I think what I loved with the editing, thankfully, is that you see a little bit of her psychoses sprinkle in till she goes with Seiko, and then you're like, oh shit. Kudos to them for choosing the right clips to kind of peel her back like a banana one by one, so you can see that kind of unravel.
Right.
Now let me ask this is a little messy, but was it really a fight scene that y'all had? And or did
We
they edit
actually
it
went over
or
it. No, we actually planned it a bit. I'm a stunt
okay.
coordinator.
Uh-huh.
So I did the stunt coordinating for her, and I'm also a stunt coordinator on another Elmore Vision Entertainment film, which is called Guns Down, coming up in like a few months.
Uh-huh.
So no, Eden and I worked on the choreography together, and
Okay.
I had
we
no
ran
idea
it.
what I was doing. I'm like, how do I do this without really hitting her?
Right. But then also, whenever it's going, some things didn't play as perfect because maybe furniture moved, or I couldn't open the purse up quick enough. Poor Eden, one time the gun fell on her forehead and she had a bump on her forehead. My knees were all scraped up. So, I mean, it's not a pain free thing. Even though we planned for it, we can't plan for the gun's quality of like how good it is and that it was going to fall apart on Eden. We couldn't like calculate that whenever we were actually rolling at full speed that it would move the furniture around, and some things like kind of got off pace. But that goes to Eden being quick and just adapting to the situation as well, and her not being reactive. She wasn't like, my forehead. She just kept going, right? We had like boobies come out in certain takes.
Until like they said something about it on my forehead, and I was like, "Oh,
Right here. So in character that you did completely.
Yeah, I didn't feel it
wasn't
until
aware.
Victoria said it, and I was like, "Oh shit! I guess the gun fell at some point."
So do you all? So outside of being actresses, do you all also work at coaching any actresses or anybody coming on, like the scene and things like that? And do you give any advice for anybody trying to get into that?
Yes, I'm very big into. I do. I'm very big into mentoring because I wear many hats in the industry. As I said, I'm a stunt coordinator. I'm a producer. I write, and I do stuff with wardrobe and locations and casting. So I've been in the entertainment industry for 20 years. I have 11 films under my belt. I've produced 3, and I don't believe in gatekeeping. I think there's so much talent out there. I think there's so many projects, and I think the more we get, the more we're going to grow. Texas has gotten amazing grants, and our film industry is booming. We've just increased it by millions of dollars, and there's so many incentives to come film out here. And I love mentoring people. Shantae and I speak daily, pretty much, with some other people that we've acted with, and we just share notes and vibe, and we talk about the pros and cons on the different sets that we've been on. We go support each other. Shantae has a film that's going to premiere this Saturday. Yay! So we're going to go through that.
What is that one? I was going to say let's switch to promo, but I'm like, okay, come on.
No,
let's make sure we give us time.
It's called The Break of Dawn, and the film that's put on by a local filmmaker here in Houston, Denise Monet. And so it's a great story that's going to cover real events of catfishing that happen.
Okay.
That's scary. Oh, it gave me goosebumps.
Happened in college, so I get to play another young role, a college girl. Fun.
Okay. Eden, did you have anything that you're working on?
Working on currently, no, but there's a couple films coming up. One on what's it called Black Santa comes out on November 7th on Tubi and Peacock and several other streaming platforms, which is a Jonathan Milton film. Another film, Bayou City Murders, is going to be released sometime in February.
Okay.
I believe. And that's pretty much it for now until I get back. I'm just kind of chilling overseas for a second, getting my head back together.
Hey, that's always good. You always want to have your head in the game. So definitely what it takes to get it. Sometimes it takes to come away from everything. So I definitely understand that. Okay, so this has been wonderful, ladies. I appreciate you all for coming to talk to us about and this is a flip for my show because normally I'm dealing with everyday people, not necessarily actors or actresses, but just a different spin on things. So I definitely appreciate you all for giving me time to talk about the show, the movie rather, and the character and how you get into the mindset and different things like that. So how can everybody be followed on social media and things like that? I'll start with Eden. You go first. Where you want people to follow you or look you up?
You can find me on Instagram. I have 2 pages. Actress_Miss Eden James is my actress page, and my main page is Eden IZ Paradise. And that's pretty much contingent on all platforms. I haven't really quite got into the TikTok world yet. I probably should.
You should.
Yeah.
You could do some acting skits and stuff like that. That would be dope.
Yeah. So maybe I'll start working on that when I get back.
Yes.
But yep, that's pretty much. Or just hit my contact button on my Instagram page, and you'll get to my actual phone line. People don't ever use that button for God knows what reason. I don't know, but
that's your actual phone line, so we can call you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh, you're brave.
That's
Okay.
different. Okay.
The funny thing is, people don't ever use it. Like I'll get DMs or comments like, "Hey, what's your phone number? We gotta talk business." Da, 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 da.
You are not getting my phone number. You will get my agent's info, and then they will tell me what you're telling me.
Okay, so Jen, where can we find you, ma'am?
I'm Fly Girl Jen across the board everywhere. IG, TikTok, Facebook, my website, Fly Girl Jen.
Okay. And Shantae, where can we find you?
So I'm mostly on Instagram. So you can find me at Ashante. So it's AYYE_CHANTE.
With the little asterisk, with the little
Not with
thing.
not with the asterisk, just because Instagram allow it for the
Be
user.
acting funny. Okay, yeah, they act funny because Facebook
funny.
will let you put some stuff on there, but you can't do it on Instagram.
No, I like my, but they're funny about it. So just
Okay. And I'm J. Marie Poetry, host of the Dirty Pleasure Show and owner of Dirty Words Apparel. You all can look up the Dirty Pleasure Show on thedirtypleasureshow.com and be sure to subscribe to TDPS. I'm sorry, what is it? TDP Show Pod on what is it? YouTube. See, it's too many things. I need somebody being like, and action, so they can do it for me. But thank you all for coming on the set or coming on the show rather. We appreciate you. All right.
Thank you for having us.
Perc30.
Peace. Perc30,
Bye, y'all.
Tubi, and Peacock.